Thanks for staying with us. The federal government has ordered universities to enforce the no work, no pay policy against striking ASU lecturers, suspending their salaries during the ongoing strike. Vice chancellors must also conduct a staff headcount and report compliance within 7 days. Members of CONUA and NAMDA are exempted. Supporters say the move ensures fairness and accountability, discouraging frequent strikes and protecting public funds. Critics, however, call it unfair and insensitive, arguing that strikes often result from the government's unfulfilled promises and that the policy deepens hardship and distrust amongst lecturers. You can join the conversation and call us on 02016 352013 or 09024163440. Or tweet us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewTVC. ASU strike has commenced again. And we know that they had tried to have a conversation, meeting with the federal government to see how they can, agree on what to do, implement some of the promises that the federal government has made over the years in terms of resources for the universities, salaries, increments, and all of that. And it seems like there's been a headlock in the meeting. ASU, on the other hand, is saying that the federal government hasn't done enough in terms of implementing the promises that they have made or even promised enough. The federal government is saying that we had started this conversation with you and we said, give us so and so time, that we are doing something already, But it seems like nobody wants to listen, and ASU has gone ahead to start the strike. But with this no work, no pay, do you think that will make ASU, have a rethink? Because this had played out before and it did not end well. Do you think this will make them have a rethink, or do you think they will still brazenly go ahead to say, let's have the strike, whatever happens, happens?
Okay. In fairness to ASU, they're not asking for anything new. They're just asking for that the government should be held to a certain standard of commitment to promises that they've made over the years. Okay. And it also helps you wonder, is it that the budget for education is so small or is not up to par that we keep having these same conversations over and over again? Every year, at least 2 times, ASU must go on strike. So something, and we're not addressing the core issue with in terms of the educational sector with ASU. But then, in fairness to the taxpayers, it is not fair that we pay you for work you did not do. Right? Okay. When you work, you get paid. If you don't work, you don't get paid, because it's somebody's money. This budget did not drop from heaven. It's people's money, people that worked hard, Nigerians' money, and they pay tax for this to be used. So, in fairness to the taxpayers, so the government, trying to enforce this right that they have to say no work, no pay, right? It is what it is, but I believe that it's also not fair. The government should also be held to a high standard of commitment, especially when promises have been made, and this has dragged for too long.
Yeah. So just like Amaka, for me, I also see both sides. The no work, no pay. I understand why it is being implemented, and it's really for abuse of the use of strike. And as we know, when ASU goes on strike, the people that really suffer are the students, the parents that have put resources together to send their children to school. And we know how long these strikes can go on for months, years. We used to have that, So I can understand why you want to put a policy to help curb that misuse of strikes and also encourage alternatives, to strikes. Sitting down and having conversations at tables. Now, this is where we go, because we know that ASU has told us many times that they have sat down with federal government on many occasions, listing out their demands, explaining what they want, and government will sit with them. Next thing we'll hear, after making promises, government is quiet. And government would not move until ASU asks for strike, until ASU starts threatening strike or finally goes on strike. So really, even though we have the policy is supposed to help curb, use of abuse of strikes all the time, I also feel that the government is using it as a way to just punish the ASU because they know that, to hold them, hold them down so that they don't go on strike. So what do you want ASU to do? What do you even want any agency asking for government to
the bare minimum,
for the commitments that they have made, that to follow through on the commitments that they have made? If the only way that we can have you finally even move your body is when we go on strike. So really, the problem I have here is with the federal government, because I have heard these complaints all the time. The demands that they have made, I really don't understand why it's so hard for the federal government to step in. If is that, yes, we know the story of our country. Resources are limited. The federal government can't do it alone. There are different people now asking for alternatives to how we fund education. And some of the ones that I'm hearing right now is people are saying maybe just make everything private, and then government with initiatives like Nell Fund and others for those who are unable to afford fees, then government can come in
with that loan scheme.
Yes, in that, with those sort of initiatives. Let the universities go on and be able to fund themselves, raise revenue for themselves, so that we don't have this issue continually back and forth.
Sure. So yesterday when I saw the federal government to enforce no work, no pay, I said they don't start again. You people have started again. Because ASU will go to the industrial court to enforce their labor rights. Labor will join. NLC will join. We'll be back to 2022. So some of the demands ASU is asking is that of 2022. Remember the longest ASU strike we ever held.
Yeah.
And President Buhari then issued the directive of no work, no pay. ASU, and then they divided the unions between ASU and Konwa.
Yeah.
That we had one of the guys came on the show there
to talk about.
And I remember till date, one of the issues in this ASU's demands now is still some payments from that 2022 strike. Because they would enforce it. So a strike is a legitimate protest from workers. If all statutory notices, directives and warnings have been given, ASU have been issuing these things since we've been taking it in the papers. We didn't see an invitation from government. Government should also publish their side of invitation, of a dialogue, of resolutions arrived at those dialogue meetings that they've called with ASU. List the number of representatives coming from ASU side, the number of representatives from government side, not just issue a no pay directive a day to the strike, to the beginning of the strike. That's the one that is paining me in government, because we are back where we started. Every day the circle is the same. So ASU will now go to the industrial court and say, these were the 7 days notices was the giving 2 clinical notices. That's why the ASU president yesterday was saying on the news yesterday evening that nobody can threaten us, because they know, they would have their advisors, they have their legal advisors also. I don't like this kind of back and forth, because when this drama is happening, parents would then have to be looking for alternative work for their children. And the children. We had children in 2022 who had finished their courses before ASU called off strike. We had people who had even resumed other jobs, were doing remote jobs before ASU called off strike. We can't continue to deal with this problem with the same method. We will go back where we were. You are talking as if ASU too, when you tell them they will shake, ground will shake. Has he shaking them before?
No.
They will go back to their legal advisors. So what is government side? Yes, we know you're doing third form, but these are some of the demands of ASU. ASU has their demands. President Buhari had, ASU was proposing being taken off the payment IPPIS, and
at the time
they proposed an alternative for themselves. Were they considered? Tell us, because government just say we've tried for ASU. It's not enough. Publish what you have tried. Let us read it. Don't just read the circular dated 13th of October that you are saying no work, no pay. No work, no pay, how? And in the no work, no pay, you also exempted certain bodies. You exempted Konwa. That can be discriminatory. They can go before any labor court, and it will not be endless. Labor tribunal today, this and that tomorrow. In the meantime, our children. This proposal that they should even make everything private, we cannot afford it. Let's just say it there. We cannot afford it. The poor man's children, even with 25,000 naira as school fees in the year I was 100 level,
many people were able to pay
indigenship scholarship for them in Lagos. I went to LASU. that 25,000, I know how many, more than 90% of students in school then were queuing up under the indigenship quota for that for 25,000.
Yes.
So which money is it really affordable? Is it not that the country that our minimum wage is 70,000 naira? If you now ask a parent who has 2 children and is a minimum wage salary earner within the civil service, no past 70,000, let's even assume is a level 14 or something, and they add small thing. Put cost of living in the country join. Add the cost of living, the cost of transporting those children to school. Hostel, we're supposed to take it yesterday.
Yes,
hostel is outrageous.
It's a big one.
So even the public school, okay, go.
Yeah, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'd like you to call in and tell us your thoughts on what ASUU is doing right now concerning the strike. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
So back to our conversation. So we've always known that the budget for education is not enough. If you compare what is being budgeted every year for education and compare it to other countries that are doing well when it comes to education, you see that it seems like Nigeria is not ready to move forward. And we've given different excuses. We don't have enough money. We don't have we're not generating enough. The refineries that are supposed to be giving us money, we're not having enough. We are always borrowing, and that's why we cannot have so much being pushed into education. And when you are a country like that who is not giving that priority to education, these are some of the results. These are some of the things that you see as a result of not paying attention to education. So we keep having ASUU issue over and over. We'll just be silent for a few months and then ASUU will come back again. You people have not answered us since many years back. We rest a little and then you have still not answered us. What do you think is the solution that would sort of help us in a way that we can avoid some of these strikes? Do we start looking or start pushing that going forward the educational budget must increase as a nation? Do we have the power to do that, to say, as if people are sharing this money, this industry, this ministry and all of that, education should be do we make like this is the percentage you must give education in the budget before it passes the floor?
Okay, so let's start with the loans. The NEL funds and the TED fund, all this is so sweet. They're giving loans and everything. Please, where is this money coming from? It's enough for this loan they are giving students. It's not for from heaven.
They're sharing.
Okay, so that means the money is available to be given. The money is available to be used. Fine. You want to send your child to school because you want your child to be in an enabling environment where they can learn. And as far as I'm concerned, teachers and lecturers don't just do the art of just teaching, just classroom teaching. It embodies a whole lot of things, mentorship and stuff.
Exactly.
And you have to be in a good mental state and well-being to be able to want to mentor anybody or impact or teach, right? So why don't we come up with a plan where there's a payment plan, for example, where we can take some of those loans and solve the problem of enabling the lecturers or teachers' well-being. Then it spreads across, because there's money somewhere
Where the loans are coming from.
That's what I'm saying. There's money somewhere, so the federal government can access certain money to be able to help solve this, cushion this problem, right? Because it's a cycle. Regardless of what you do, if this is not taken care of, it affects this part. Then secondly, can we also look at, because this has been an ongoing issue, and I don't think it's going to end anytime soon,
I don't
where
think so.
the educational sector keeps having this problem, lack of funds over and over and again. Can we now look for ways where the universities or the educational sector can now start generating its own money? Example, we're in a school system where these young minds, brilliant, intelligent minds, they can think, they can create, very creative, they can do research. That's part of the things you do in school is research. We don't do enough of research in this country.
Part of the things you're supposed to do
in school, right? Okay, suppose. So in Nigeria, we don't have that culture of research. And I think we need to introduce that, because if we're able to, if a university, if there's a challenge across universities where each year, if a university comes up with something, maybe in the pharmaceutical or medical health sector, and this thing is sold or is used, they can pump in funds for that particular school, and they can
apply for grants.
They can apply for grants, and they can use it to do anything, whether locally or internationally. We need to start looking beyond this federal government. If not, every day, in the same conversation,
We're going to be having. We have Yemi from Abuja. Good morning, Yemi. Are you there?
Good morning, I'm here. How are you?
We're doing amazing, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let me start from Nigeria as a country. We have this notion that Nigeria is very rich,
Okay.
but that's absolutely false. If you look at the national income of Nigeria as a country in a year, and you divide it by the whole populations without corruption, without anything, you come to less about $100 per individual per annum. That is not even enough for most people to survive in a quarter of a year.
True.
I'm a beneficiary of free education, but we need to be very realistic. The Nigerian population has grown so bad, too much now, that it is very, very difficult with the government's revenue to take care of any sector of the economy. Let me give you, for instance, in 1960, Nigeria was just 42 million. Britain was 48 million.
Okay.
Today, we have about 220. Britain is just 70 million.
Yeah.
Our population has grown so much that has made mess of whatever economic growth that we had. So we don't have enough money. So even if you look at the private sector, primary schools, the school fees involved is even higher than even the universities. So
True.
the current situation in which we want university to be free for everyone is not sustainable. We need all to be realistic.
So what's your solution to this?
My solution is that we should find a midway between privatization of the university system. A lot of
Privatization.
courses in the university are obsolete. They are of no relevance. We have to produce what the industry needs, and that can only help to bring money from the private sector into the university system. This back and forth, bring money, we go on strike. It will not work. We need to face the current reality. We cannot continue to give free education to everybody. Even the biggest countries in the world, they don't do it because it costs a lot of money. We will keep on producing graduates that are not relevant to the economy. ASU must sit down as think tank to find a way of funding the university. University abroad are funded not only by the government, by alumni, by research grant, by industrial support and donations. But this idea of only waiting for the federal government to bring money, it will not work. We all know what education costs in the private sector in Nigeria. So we need to come to this reality.
Okay.
Or else this back and forth will go on and we'll get to nowhere. That's the reality. There's no point everybody going to the university. People don't need it. People can go to technical schools.
I agree.
We must de-emphasize the idea of my son is a graduate. Myself, it helps us nowhere. It doesn't bring money from the bank. Let's de-emphasize the number of people going to the university. Then we have less money to spend.
Thank you
That
so
is
much,
my own
Yemi.
thinking to this.
Yeah.
See, Yemi
So,
just
thank
dey
you.
open- Sorry, you know, very
Different.
He just dey widen the matter. Sorry.
But he
They
has a
emphasize
major
the
point.
of my child being a graduate, privatize all the universities. Let me roll talk before I go start.
Okay, because I think we're going to be on. For me, you know, I'd already started saying it when I started my, when I first gave my opinion. And for me, is that we need to be realistic. Times have changed. We're talking about universities recently where we don't have enough accommodation for their students. We have overcrowding in the hostels. One, because we don't have enough space for the large number of students that come in. Secondly, outside off-campus rent is so high, many students cannot afford it. So when we look at our world today, when we look at Nigeria today, the economy, the cost of living, everything is just, you know, we know it's crazy. And just like the last caller said, if we're to, let's consider how much education costs. Let's look at the private universities. How much are parents paying for their children to go to these universities? And you know that there's a whole range of them. Not all of them are highly expensive. Some are not as expensive as others. But you know, if you look at the range, it is much more expensive to go to a private university than to go to the public university.
Yeah.
The government-funded universities, till today, no matter what we were able to pay, what you're able to pay at government-funded universities is much lower than what anyone is paying at private universities. And that means there's a gap, there's a difference that is being paid by government. And to be honest, I do not think that we have the resources to be able to meet the pay, to pay for university education across board.
Okay.
I personally like the Enel Fund initiative. I love what it's doing for a lot of students. They are able to pay your tuition, and some of the other things. And I think that initiatives like that can still be used if we go ahead to privatize universities.
Okay.
Now, it's not like total privatization, which is, okay, give it to private sector. I still feel that government can be included in it. Maybe we should have like a hybrid, some of the universities. Okay, you have a call.
Yeah, let's take this call. Hassan from Lekki. We'll take a short break and I'll come back to Miriam. Good morning, Hassan. Are you there?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
I concur with the last caller to some extent.
Okay.
And I disagree with Mariam about privatization of university.
Okay.
I have my reasons for that. Let me go to the first caller. The first caller spoke well. Now look, they should be able to arrive at a certain agreement. They should be able to negotiate with the federal government of this no winner, no loser. Should not be a win situation for ASU. What I'm seeing with ASU is this. They always dish out orders to their employers. And the federal government is the employer of ASU. And ASU is always in the habit of giving instruction that federal government must do this, must do that for them. Please, let us sit back and look at the demand of this ASU. Look, let me take you down memory lane. Tech Fund is a product of ASU's agitation. The Tech Fund improved the infrastructure in university and training of university lecturers abroad. A lot of them even absconded abroad. Nobody is talking about that. And they are busy enjoying training under Tech Fund. And that Tech Fund is the money by me and you. So for somebody to be saying that he can eat his cake and have it, I don't believe in it. Because we are in the habit of always supporting ASU. ASU members are mortal like me and you. This issue of dishing out orders, threatening federal government with strike every now and then should stop. And let us see how they can agree with the federal government on this no winner, no loser of a team.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you. I'll be taking a short break now. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. We're still discussing ASU. And
Yes,
Miriam
so I was
up.
talking about hybrid, that I think that there has to be like a collaborative arrangement with private, with the universities, being privately owned while still being partly owned with government. So I think that when it comes to, so this is the way I see it, that government can still be the regulator, play oversight functions, provide grants, for research. What Enel Fund is doing with indigent students, I think that we can still do that. And because of government collaboration, some of these particular public universities will have tuition subsidized, not completely carried on. The subsidy won't be as low as it is right now because the government is taking the whole burden as we're talking about, right now, but not fully, fully funded by private university. Then I also believe that I also think that for the part that should be taken on by the private side of this will be the salaries, raising funds, that's through tuition or whatever endowment. The universities themselves have to be able to do that. And in so doing, they're able to hire, fire, their staff, maintain
Take it out of government.
Yes, maintain their infrastructure, raise money to be able to do that. Government will just keep an eye to make sure that there's no abuse. As you know that it's still supposed to be partly public. We still have Nigerians that will need to go to university. So to make sure that everybody who applies, there's it's balanced, so that some people are not sort of taken out because it's a private university. That if we're able to find that balance, I believe we will stop having this continual ASU conversation, strike conversation, because whether we like it or not, this has been going on for so long. It makes no sense that we keep doing the same thing over and over again. And we cannot keep insisting that government takes over the burden, because it's been doing that and it's not getting us anywhere. So we need to find a different way to do this.
Okay, Nima.
Okay, so let government just admit that they failed education-wise when it comes to tertiary institutions in the country. Let's just agree. Let them wait with their full chest that we have failed.
No, we have not
our
failed.
People. Because we just said it here, we were debating it during the break, and I was listening to how our universities no longer produce employable graduates.
True.
And why are they not employable? It's not because of the curriculum we are running and the non-deliberateness of government. Government does not want to face what they need to face. Students are being victimized within school, letters and all of that. You have chairman board of a senate board and all of that, governing board of schools. Everybody just doing whatever they like and sending their kids abroad. And we deliberately work towards the failure of our own system to send our kids abroad. In those days, nobody wanted to send their children to just any school. Everybody wanted, we had A-list schools. The UIs, the UNILAG and all of that. People were fighting tooth and nail to get their kids into those schools. People were fighting tooth and nail in those days in unity schools to get into Igbobi and Baptist secondary schools. They were standards. What did we do to those standards? We watered them down. Now everybody is looking private. Now we're all looking private. The caller that mentioned that we should demystify the idea of my child is a graduate. How did we get there? Without being a graduate, your child did not stand a chance at
to survive in life.
Your family story. They will do it better than you. You were a cleaner and your child will end up one if you did not fight. The mothers sold their wrappers, sold their family lands to send their kids to get this education. And now we've watered down the education and we're just telling them move on.
No, I don't think that.
They should just wait. No, they should just wait on their chest that they have failed. Because if ASU is saying, most of the demands of ASU then was the standard of our facilities, and then they started TED Fund. They started TED Fund, and TED Fund, you cannot appraise TED Fund a few years back and tell us how far we've gone with it.
I agree with you, and I
just
wait that a couple of things before we go, but let me get Amaka's thoughts.
So I stand on the same point, on the same solution that schools, universities should start generating their own funds.
I agree.
Because it's a game of numbers. You have these children, they have so much energy, vibrancy. This Gen Z, their brain is, they're creative. They have time to be doing cultism, to be doing drugs, because they don't have anything to do. Just imagine, for example, the theater section of the school now decides that they want to start running a program where they can show on Netflix, on Prime Video, where they are being paid, where the kids are can earn money, funds while in school, gain experience, have the experience already while in school, and then it's given towards their credits, their GPAs towards graduation. Just imagine that there's so much they can do. Schools, I don't know, these lecturers, they're not thinking. Schools are not thinking. There's so much you can do with all these children that you have to create funds for the school.
So the thing is, because of time, I'll just try to just compress some of my thoughts. I think what we are saying, all of us, is that we need our educational system to grow. And to work and why it needs to work, why we understand that government may not have so much resources to put into the federal universities right now. The budget, first of all, needs to change. So let's look at other countries and see what they budget for education. We're not saying hold on.
They don't have the
hold on.
They have the fund to change cars every day.
I know now. So that's what I'm saying. So that budget has to be increased. First of all, let's even start with 20% of the total budget going into education. First of all, when we establish that, then we look into the universities. What are they doing? Many universities abroad are not totally funded by governments. The university were rushing, even the public. Quality education is very expensive, and that's why not everybody can afford to go to the university. This idea of once you finish secondary school, you must go to the university, we also need to change it. You can go to the university when you are okay, when you are done, when you can pay your bills, you're already doing your business, and you can go to the university.
And there are different kinds of universities abroad. They have community colleges.
So I'm getting to that. We need to emphasize on our skilled schools. Technical schools, when you are mature enough to pay your bills, then you can go to university. We're not rushing to be the first to graduate. That's what we always do in this country. Hey, my daughter graduated at 16, my son graduated at 20. What did they graduate with? What solutions can they solve? So the problem is
how long
heavy.
Do they have to stay in the university to graduate?
The problem is very heavy, and schools need to start thinking deep within. How can we generate internal funds, like Amaka said? That's the way to go. Then also, industries need to come here. The schools and the industries must begin to collaborate. The banking sector, for instance, can say, okay, the people in finance, these are the skill sets that we require. This is what you're going to train them. You do your curriculum to match the skill set so that when they come out, they have jobs already.
So that's what the universities need to do. We can't keep going cap in hand waiting for government
to sort us all the time. Quality education is very expensive across the world. That's why many people abroad or Yibo people don't go to universities like that. And they're making it.
And they take loans that they pay all their lives.
That's all we can take on this particular topic. When we come back, we'll move on to another topic.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.